All right, this also led to the rise of this man, Vladimir Putin, who is very much like Joseph Stalin. He understands the grand picture. He understands strategy, grand strategy. He understands that now it's time to strike. Why? Because America has created this crazy, fantastical system, right, where there's a hierarchy of prices. In the American system, the Pax Americana, many resources are the least valuable, okay? The basis are the resources, right? Which is what Russia has a lot of. Up next in this pyramid is manufacturing, which is what China does. Then up next is knowledge economy, so professionals. And that's what Europe and America does really well, okay? And at the very top of this pyramid are the financiers, finance. And that's what Wall Street dominates, okay? So this is the pyramid of the world that we live in. And what Putin said is this. What Putin said is, you know what? If I can control the world's resources, the oil, the food, then I can invert this pyramid so that resource at the top. And that's why Russia invaded Ukraine. Because if Russia were able to dominate Ukraine, Russia and Ukraine together would control one-third of the world's carbohydrates. Without Russian food, Africa and the Middle East would both starve to death. Okay? And so that is the rationale for Putin's invasion of Ukraine. He's a genius. He understands there's fundamental weakness in the American system. Okay? If you're able to control the resources, you are able to strangle this financial system. Okay? So by invading Ukraine, Putin shows that America is a paper tiger. Faith in the USD rests on the aura of the American military's inevitability and invincibility. This now forces the Americans to invade Iran. Okay, does that make sense to you guys? The logic here is very simple. Why does Saudi Arabia buy US dollars, even though they know it's not worth anything? Why does Japan buy US dollars? What does Germany? The answer is they're afraid that if they don't buy US dollars, America will come invade them. Okay? They have no choice in the matter. But now that Putin has showed that, actually, you know what? The American military is not as strong as you think it is. The American military now has no choice but to prove it is as strong as people believe. It needs to restore faith in the military in order to restore faith in the US dollar. Okay, does that make sense? That's why the American military has no choice in the matter but to invade Iran. Okay? Why? Because if they're able to invade Iran, they're able to control the entire flow of Middle East oil. Also, they're able to control the active trade throughout the world, okay? Iran is really the center of the world in terms of global trade. So these two factors mean that America needs to eventually invade Iran. All right, once it invades Iran, it creates a huge problem for China and Japan and South Korea. Why? Because guess what? These three nations get most of this oil from the Middle East, right? Japan imports roughly 89% of its oil from the Middle East. And guess what, guys? Japan is the largest buyer of US dollars. So if Japan ever says, you know what, screw this, we're not buying US dollars, the American economy goes bankrupt. So when you invade Iran, you control the oil supply, you control the entire Japanese economy. You can charge whatever price you want for oil. All right, this explains the Israel-Palestine conflict. Because America just can't go invade Iran for no reason. It needs a pretext. The perfect pretext is Israel comes in conflict with Iran, Iran attacks Israel, the United States must now defend Israel because Israel is its ally. Right? Does that make sense? So America needs a scapegoat. That scapegoat is Israel. That explains why there's so much conflict right now in the Middle East. Look at this map, okay? This is Iran. It's surrounded by American bases. You have 14,000 troops in Afghanistan. You've got like thousands more over here, okay? Iran is surrounded. It seems to me that America's been preparing to invade Iran for the past 20 years. It's just looking for the perfect opportunity. All right, the problem though is that Iran is not an adversary that America can defeat. The reason why is the geography of Iran. Look at this. In 2003, America went to Iraq and destroyed Iraq. Why? Iraq's a desert. It's flat plains. America has bombs. It has fighter planes, right? It's pretty easy to destroy a desert. But Iran is all mountains. These fighter planes do no good against mountains. You can't bomb a mountain into submission. Okay? So if America were to invade Iran, there's very little chance that America would win this war. In fact, it may be the end of the American empire. And Putin has a plan, okay? Putin is a genius. He knows exactly what will happen. So Putin is preparing for this possible invasion of Iran. So this is a really important picture. Putin signed an agreement with Kim Jong-un. The agreement is something called a Mutual Defense Pact, which means that if North Korea is ever attacked, Putin would come to his aid. All right? Now, why would Putin do this? This is really strange. The answer is this. The answer is, if America attacks Iran, he needs to throw America off balance by creating a conflict somewhere else. The best place to create a conflict would be Southeast Asia, right? Now, you would think, wait a minute here. Putin and China are best friends. If America invades Iran, then China may invade Taiwan. But I've already told you this. China is dependent on the American economy. So I do not believe this will happen. Okay? And Putin is fairly certain this won't happen either. That's why he's now best friends with Kim Jong-un. Because Kim Jong-un, if he were to menace South Korea, that would throw the American military off balance. Because now there is war on 3 fronts: Ukraine, South North Korea, and Iran. Okay? That's the grand strategy of Putin. This is his trump card. Okay, does that make sense? All right.